Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You already know what time it is. It's time for the booth. We're here at the New York Bodega. Good morning, everybody. It's really great to be here with you guys. It's good to be here with you guys. Let me know if there's any audio or internet issues. We should be fine though. Yeah, so today we're going to be chitty-chatting about economy finals, and we're going to have a guest on for that. And then we're going to chitty-chatty about financial finals. We have a guest on for that. And then it is afternoon, but I woke up like an hour and a half ago, ergo it's morning.
Exactly. It's
yeah.
morning when I wake up.
Yeah. I haven't finished my coffee yet, so it's still morning.
Thank you. Preach. Preach.
And then we'll chitty chat a little bit about the commercial and executive finals matchups. And just as a quick reminder, and I'll remind throughout the episode, commercial finals is 6 p.m. tonight. That is Sensei Randall's Intermediate Karate Squadron versus Brick's soccer team. That's an awesome matchup. That's in about 5 hours, as Nate just said. And so it's going to be a really exciting matchup. I can't wait to watch it, and we can't wait to talk about it next episode. But this episode is dedicated to economy and financial finals. So I'm gonna go ahead, and Nate, what were your kind of preliminary thoughts about these finals?
Uh, all right. My main thoughts on Econ Finals was that it was a really fun series to watch. These are two pretty good, I'd say really good teams. Obviously, they got to the
Mm-hmm.
final,
Mm-hmm.
especially for their level. Um, two really good teams. I think you could point out a lot of awesome moments in
Yep.
both series. And I think there were a few, I think, especially for Econ,
Yep.
um, really both teams felt like they showed what their strengths and weaknesses were during the series. I just felt that Serenity
Mm-hmm.
really just had that consistent strength
Yeah.
game after game after game, even in game two they kind of where Alistar was running across the map making so many things happen.
Yeah, and like watching that kind of thing happen with an Alistar makes me really happy. Just because like
Mhm.
Alistar is a champion that can get these kinds of insane roams off all of the time, and to
Yep.
see like supports, especially supports in economy, and like you're kind of like you like the perception of economy is like yeah they're bronze and silver players, so you know whatever. But like getting off those roam timers and seeing that awesome stuff go down like that's so fun.
Yeah. That being said, and I think there are obviously some amazing performers on the winning team. I think Chris Ramirez, or what I imagine is Ramirez. Um, Legate obviously had an amazing series.
Hmm.
Kolberg, the Serenity bot lane had a great series.
Yeah,
But if there's one
absolutely.
person who um, completely random basketball lore, but the only player to ever win Finals MVP in a loss
Hmm.
is Jerry West. The
Okay.
Lakers lost in like 1960 something, and he still got it. Um, and I wish I could do the same for Jericho because
Hmm.
I've never seen a player play like this, like that well in consecutive losses. It was
Yeah.
just absolutely nuts how how well Jericho played
Yeah.
the entire
Absolutely.
time. It was just support wise, it was really just an amazing thing because Colbert also had a really, really good series. So
Yeah.
just like pure support, this was just a great series to watch because you had Jericho on the engaged supports absolutely making steps. You had
Hmm.
Colbert on Jana and Lulu making things happen. So
Hmm.
I think this is this was such a fun series to watch
Yeah.
that I'm happy it happened. Econ has, I think, for the last few seasons had some really interesting finals, and has not disappointed. I'll say
Hmm.
that.
Yep. So that was really awesome, and I think this is a great segue to bring up our friend, the last legate, or legate, or legate, however it's pronounced. I don't really care. And so, welcome to the booth. Pull yourself up a chair. I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, I made a little graphic. The cat ears. Just ignore the fact that there's cat ears on there. Just it's. I
Okay.
pasted over. I pasted over Earl King's
Very nice.
graphic. So it's not whatever. Anyways, Legate, welcome to the booth. Congratulations. This is your second economy finals win, I believe. And
I think that
so
first one was over.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, right?
Who knows? Anyways, welcome to the
That'd be
booth.
right.
Welcome to the booth, bud. Pull yourself up. We got some. I guess there's waffles for you.
Yeah.
I can get you a nice coffee as well if you'd like. But welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you. For you to have me on.
Absolutely. And so we just kind of wanted to chat, and this is going to be pretty open-ended, so it's just going to be very conversational. It's not necessarily an interview by any stretch of the imagination, because interviewers have prepared questions. And
Maybe
so,
not.
yeah, we like the conversational atmosphere that we can get going here on the booth. Please don't say League of Legends Catboy in the chat. Yeah, and so how does it feel to kind of come in here and, like spaced apart a season, I believe, to jump in and get the season 5 economy championship, and now you're coming back in season 7 and you're saying, let's run this shit back and do it again. How's it feel being that 2-time champion?
It feels pretty great. Yeah, especially since it's with essentially a completely new team this time.
Mhm.
So That was very interesting. I think the team came a long way from where we started, for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it was an interesting journey for sure.
Can you kind of elaborate on some of the factors that made it interesting?
I think it was definitely the team's identity has changed since the beginning for sure. There was a lot of development as in where we wanted how like what kind of play style we wanted to play through because the season started with much of what you saw in the finals actually
Yeah.
with I was on tank top and we tried to play more through bot lane
Yeah.
and that went pretty well for most of the season, but as we started getting towards the end of the season, getting towards the playoffs, we're like, this isn't really working. Like me personally, I mean I don't mind tanks, but the team kind of like sat down and was like, we're doing okay, but if we really want to unlock our full potential, we think that we need Legate on like something that he can carry a bit more on. Because obviously winning lane on tanks is not the biggest of deals.
Right.
So about I don't know, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before playoffs started, we tried to transition more towards that playstyle. I particularly finally got to pull out the Gangplank a few times, which is just one of my favorite champions. And it,
Checks out.
yeah, it's very easy to once you get good at them carry. But we ran that a few times in playoffs, but then once we got to finals, man, it I don't even just the way that Meowington drafted, and the way they played, we kind of like ran it back to the original playstyle because I was doing most of the scouting, and I was looking at their games, and I could tell just from the little bit I could see that they heavily play around their jungler. So,
Yeah.
and Solnari was a fucking monster, dude. He popped off. But yeah, I was like, this team like loves to play the heavy gank style, and with Jericho the roam style as well. And so we're like, okay, so we want to punish that, and we want to play around our bot lane more in finals. So I went back to the tanks, and it worked out because their top laner also played a lot of like supportive stuff, and the tanks do pretty well into that, just the passive lane. So we ran into that. We ran that, and Chris and Kohlberg played out of their goddamn minds.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
carried me, honestly. Um, and yeah, I was super proud of the team just because our only loss this season was to Budget.pl, and in scrims, like consistently, the team comps that we struggled the most against were like the heavy roam comps, like Shen,
Yeah.
the roaming supports like Alistar. Like that messed us up, but we were able to pull it together for finals. So I was very proud of us.
It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that like going into finals versus Meowington, whom have like this very aggressive high gank jungler and a very aggressive high roam support. I can imagine that like knowing that that's the kind of playstyle you guys are, I guess some could say like weakest against. Like what was the team atmosphere going into that match, knowing that you're playing against a team that excels at your weak point?
Well, I think as a team we were pretty confident. Me being the one doing the drafts and all the scouting, I might have had some personal doubts, but I didn't share that with anybody. So, but yeah, we had a specific comp in mind that we kind of ran with the engaged jungler, and then like the hypercare ADC. Like Chris played the Twitch a lot, and it worked well at first, but we kind of had to flex it a bit because they started going this all-in Giga dive, and I mean
Yeah.
Twitch just can't survive that no matter how much support you give them. So we kind of flexed the Ezreal a bit, and made their dives much more hard to pull off.
Yeah. And so I guess like the big like counter dive strategies, you have Kohlberg on primarily the Janna, but then you also kind of swap to the Lulu in game 2. And so did you kind of expect them to try to play around the Janna at all? Because it really doesn't seem like they did. They ended up, so they had the oh geez, hang on. They had the Taric in the first game, And then they just kind of like, then they went right into like Alistar. And I just feel like if you're playing into somebody who you know is going to be playing this disengaged peel style, like, did you expect them to kind of switch up their play style around bot lane and maybe try to pick to outscale or pick to outpoke, that kind of stuff?
No, actually, because from what I looked at, Jericho played awesome. Like he's a great player, but from what I could tell going in, he does not play anything besides those engaged supports, the engaged tanks. So
Season 5 Jackie boy.
yeah,
Yeah, something goes
Yeah,
something
well-
about Legate and facing engaged supports.
right. Well, I mean, at least it wasn't the Rel this time.
True.
But yeah, so I knew that the Janna was always going to be a pretty safe pick, just because she does so well against those engaged tanks.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask is I think all three of us have drafted for our teams this season. Unfortunately, me and I didn't. But I know also Jack. Well, Jack also played best of threes all season. So when you're getting drafted in a series like this, generally the adaptations come through. But what were your thoughts as Meowington just banned like basically the same things every game, like regardless of previous outcome?
I wasn't that shocked, just because the bans they kept making, for the most part, made sense. Like, for example, they first phased ban Morgana every time, which, considering their supports pool, like, was kind of mandatory. Like,
Yeah.
Morgana hard counters pretty much all of the engaged tanks. So I expected that. Gangplank as well also made a lot of sense because he is that hyper scaling top, like, and with what the support wanted to play, or what the top laner wanted to play, Gangplank would have been a really good check to that. I didn't really get the Mundo ban, but I mean, I guess my stats on him were pretty good, so maybe that was why.
They
And
were.
yeah, so
They still are.
overall, like, I wasn't that surprised because I mean, we didn't really change our bans much either. We've seen enough of, I saw enough of Solari's Gragas to know that I did not want any part of that.
Yep.
And I knew that Foolish Tucka played a lot of Yone, and if Yone gets out of control, the game's just kind of over. But the one adaptation we made was the Veigar ban, simply because game 2 we just had no answer for the Predator cage, and we did not really want to deal with that again.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like really hard to check as like Gnar Amumu into the Veigar cage, and once Veigar gets those like CDR items or the haste items, it's really hard to like abuse the downtime of the cage because the downtime of the cage is actually so low. So that's a really good adaptation that you guys made, and like you said that like you guys knew that you were kind of like weaker against these comps with Shen and stuff, so seeing the Shen ban in games 1 and 2 makes a ton of sense. But then, you know, having that ability to adapt draft in games 3 and 4 and say, okay, let's go clutch the series, that's definitely really awesome to see. And so I guess kind of leading into that, like you said that you do like all of the scouting, the drafting, all that fun stuff for the squad. Have you been like kind of coached by some of the other folks in Serenity? Because I know that there's a bigger organization. I know personally that I've played against you guys' like executive squad. And so how much kind of support do you see from them, or you just kind of like sit, watch, and learn, or do you have your own style for that?
I definitely got a lot of teaching from White Ninja, who is the team's coach and the executive team's mid laner. He kind of taught me how to draft, but as far as in-game stuff, like I was very happy that I did basically all of our drafts without any assistance. Maybe a few comments here or there, but for the most part it was all me, and coming from where I started the season, I was very pleased with that, how things turned out, because I think I did an all right job.
Well, you won finals, so I would say you did a pretty you did like 6 out of 10. No, you did you did a great job, and it's really cool to see you kind of lead this squadron. And so we have a little bit more time. So I guess was there anything that you saw from like either your side from Serenity or from Meowington's side that you thought definitely should have been talked about more, but really wasn't highlighted in chat during the series, or we haven't spoken about yet, or that kind of stuff? Like, is there anything that you want to call out? Any players, any plays, anything like that?
Well, definitely, again, my bot lane has really come a long ways, and I'm very proud of them. Chris really popped up. Colberg Shannon was insane. Probably, if I had to give an MVP, it's going to him. And, I mean, for Mowington, like, I'll admit, I kind of underestimated Mixie a bit, their top laner, just because I looked at their match history and I was like, oh, they play like all this like Karma top stuff, and like these aren't real top laners. Like we're the bruisers.
Yeah.
But,
Bruisers.
We're the bruisers.
but then the only real, what I consider honest top lane matchup we had was in game 2, and then I kind of got my teeth kicked in.
Cool.
So, and I mean, yeah, there's some jungler interference, but you know, he played quite well. So, I mean, I'll give him props for that. I recommend playing stuff other than the Karma dude. You do it pretty well.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. It's very like humble and supportive even in the victory, which is really cool to see. I guess my kind of questions are what is your current squad's game plan from here? Are you guys looking to stay in economy, or are you looking to potentially move up after a couple of seasons there?
That's a good question. I don't know how much I'm supposed to
And you
say,
don't, I was gonna say, you don't have to leak anything. And so if you just want to like pass on this one, that's totally okay.
I think I'm safe to say that there will be another Serenity Economy team next season. Who will be on that, I am not certain. There might be some other plans in other leagues, but I know personally I haven't made a decision yet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we'll see.
I gotcha. Well, Serenity, I think I think most folks would consider the kings of economy, so it's really cool to see you guys sticking around in there. And that's pretty exciting. Is there anything you wanted to highlight or mention here? Like, we got a couple more minutes, so just this is your chance to shout out members of your team, people who've been pretty impactful for you, any of that fun stuff.
Again, coaches, not only Ninja, who was the team coach and my drafting coach, we've got the members of the executive team like Rescued and Sig, who coached up the bot lane. We got Star, who coached Cheeto and Jungle, all that good stuff. Could not have done it without them. As well, shouting out Pete, our org's owner. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes for us, a lot of support. We couldn't do without him.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Again, congratulations, Legate. You guys did a fantastic job. You really put on a clinic. So that was really exciting to watch, and wish you best of luck in your future endeavors, and I hope to see you in executive soon enough.
One day, perhaps.
One day.
See.
All right. Stick around. Take it easy.
All right. Thanks, man.
Bye-bye. All right. So that was Monsieur Legate. So that's really exciting. So we're going to actually transition into talking about financial finals now. And we actually have a guest for that. So I think we'll just kind of head right into it so we can get started chatting about that series. So Mrs. Person and Aloth, welcome to the booth. You can go ahead and pull yourself up. We'll get you some water, some waffles, all of that fun stuff. And yeah, there might be cat ears on your profile picture too, but don't worry about it. That's what makes it fun.
No, because now I'm.
Wait a minute. Did you make me a furry?
No, I didn't make you a furry. I swear to God, I didn't. It was like last minute. I didn't have enough time to hit up Dying Duck to make us new graphics, so I just made them for ourselves, and I just pasted the profile pictures over top of Earl Kings, and Earl Kings happen to be a cat, and the cat ears are sticking out. So please don't hate me.
It's alright. You can barely tell. You can barely tell the stream.
And congratulations on winning financial finals. You guys did an awesome job. You guys swept the whole series over TLM, who have been a hotly contested team. Definitely big favorites in a lot of people's minds. I know Nate had them going far. So congratulations. Just wanted to take that, take a little, give a little space for you to rest on your laurels and put on your crown.
Thank you, thank you. I will do that. Just so you guys know, we've been memeing the booth the entire time during playoffs for predicting that we're either gonna go out in first round or second round. We're like, bruh.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't,
It's alright
I
though.
don't even
You guys
have a
knew nothing
response.
about us coming
yeah.
into the playoffs, so
Yeah, I mean-
it's only fair.
Yep. I mean, I definitely think that like we absolutely underestimated you. I know I way underestimated your squad, and nothing makes me happier than getting proven wrong by like teams that I underestimate. So like making like these predictions and then all of the teams that I predicted to win lost and all the teams that I predicted to lose like come up and just like stomp the shit out of the teams that I wanted to win. I was like, well, all right, that's awesome, you know. So the Jackie Boy doubt curse is real.
Is it?
Yeah. So yeah. I guess honestly, like there's like game one looks to be like a much more kind of unless this is game two. I think the series
yeah,
screenshots are
I
out of it. So
wanted to
game
say-
one,
The series is posted backwards.
it's backwards, which is
Yeah.
really confusing because I remember like I watched it and then I came back and I looked at the screenshots and I was like, that's
I
not
saw
what
it,
I
was
remember.
I went to look because I know the Jackson Glade game was the last game.
Right. It's
yeah.
it's games 3, 1, and 2. That's the order. in
Yeah,
the-
I was like, okay, so the middle screenshot is game one, and so you guys ended up having almost double their kills. You guys end the game with like a 6K gold lead, but it's a 45-minute banger. So like, how are tensions after that first game? How are you guys feeling running into this to that second game after this long stretched out match?
Right. So actually, it was the moment the game ended, we were all just like, "Yeah, let's go!" Just and we're actually really hyped at
Yeah.
that point. And honestly, when we went into this game one, I was thinking that, oh crap, they outdrafted us because we were getting the Zaya because we just had a priority on it. We thought it was really strong with the lethality build, and the Zaya Ari Shyvana I think fits really well. But then the Poppy didn't actually get too much utility other than the engages that Kamtiankun was able to do on it. So I was actually afraid that they were going to be able to poke us out because our team comp wanted to set up and then wait for them to come to us, but they didn't actually have to come to us. They could just stay far away and just poke us, and
Yeah.
in that case, they should have been able to win. And I think the only reason we were able to win that match is because there was like one point where we were like ARAMing mid, and everybody's around, and Wildcard Blue jinxes flash, Arcadius' flash, and cleanse. And then we can just engage on them, and that's what allowed us to get Elder and Baron, and
Yeah.
at that point the game was over. So
Yeah, and so it's definitely like some of these like more longer stretched out games, like one small misstep and then like boom, the game is blown wide open, you know. So
Yep.
I guess the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which you kind of like touched on a little bit, you guys brought out the Poppy support and just like demolished with it. Like that's awesome. That was so much fun to see. You know, when I saw Poppy get picked in champs like that, I was like, all right, like I have no idea where this one's gonna go. Like into the Nautilus, like sure, but like you know, kind of cool. So had you guys prepped that pick, or was that kind of like a spur of the moment? Captain Tiankun was like, "Fuck it, give me Poppy," and you guys were like, "All right."
no, it's actually we had like an hour-long draft prep session before the matches, and we had like a Google Sheets all planned out. We knew that Tokufin liked to play the Poppy, and Captain Tiakum's two most played champs in solo queue are Tarek and Poppy. Mostly because it just provides a lot of utility. It's also a great counter pick into the Nautilus. So we were just planning that as a, you know, it was a first round pick, I think, first rotation pick to just help protect the Zaya. So yeah, that's mostly what we were planning, is to just counter Nautilus, and then they decided to draft longer range, which gave us some difficulty, but it was still the Poppy, like the other utility other than the W, was still enough to um, just be valuable, I guess.
Absolutely. And then we see like in game two, Tiancum like just says fuck it, give
So-
me the Nautilus. Like
Let me.
that's
Yep.
awesome. And I think Nate wants to jump in here, so I'm gonna give them space to do that.
So, the this comp is amazing because it cannot be touched by the champs picked on Laserman's side between Senna, Tarek, Ivern. I tuned in towards the tail end of this game, and the stunning moment for me was Olaf hitting Tarek for at least like a solid 40 seconds and doing like no damage. And I was like, wow, that must feel awful. But yeah, this was like Draft Kingdom. What kind of happened here?
Right. So we were expecting them to change up their bans after the game one, and they did. They banned the Shyvana instead of the Taric, and let's see, what else did they ban? They still banned the Zac, so they left the Taric open. That was the big thing, and then we were expecting them to pick the Jinx because they seem to value that as a priority pick. So we just first rotation hit them with the Taric Senna, because we've been actually prepping that in our practice matches, but everyone was banning the Taric against us, so we couldn't pull it out. Um, but the thing is, the Senna's right now really strong because she can just scale it infinitely with her souls if she is playing the support and the Taric farms. The Taric is just great when it's given gold because the heals and the ultimate just provide a lot of frontline and utility. So it's just a great way to utilize the farming support. And it also, the Senna has a lot of range, and with the slow buff on her Q, she's just really strong. And we played that with Ivern, and with that, it's essentially just a protect comp. And it actually fares really well into what Team Lizardman was drafting, because they were drafting again the Draystop, the Jinx, and the Senna just can outrange them. She can siege, and we can also have the initiative to engage if we need to, because they don't really have a lot of good protection. Like the Karma can like provide shields somewhat, but it's not doesn't provide as much as a Taric or an Ivern. And yeah, as you can see, let's see, from the bans, I think we banned mostly top laners. One thing is, I've played against Gototu a lot actually, just because he's been playing with a group at BYU in like past years. So I know that he's a great laner, but I feel like he was a little complacent here. The Jace picks just did not really provide that much, especially in game 2 because we had a lot of shields and the Taric heals. It just doesn't provide as much as other top laners at the moment. So I feel like most of the game 2 especially was draftive, and I just not expected. Game 1 was just a coin flip. Either team could have taken it. We were just lucky that we were able to win the coin toss on the last decisive fight. Yeah, and game 3 was, I don't even know what it was. I think what it was is that Team Laser Moon was finally coming back, and they were smashing us, and then they got a little too excited, and then they dove us mid, and then we were like, wait, they're inting? And then that let us come back into the game. So yeah, those are like the quick summaries of each match.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at just kind of like matches, like I can't imagine like winning that like coin toss on the first game, just the absolute draft disparity in the second game, and then kind of like going into the third game, and then Team Laserman, you got to give them credit for the resolve of losing the coin flip, losing draft so hard you lose the game, and then they come back and they're like, no, 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 we're gonna put up a fight, and backs against the wall kind of situation. And so that must have been really kind of like really hypey and exciting. So how are the comms kind of like when the table started turning in TLM's favor in game 3? Kind of how was the team atmosphere that allowed you guys to push back forward and then pull out the win after that kind of like int dive in mid?
Right. So, how it kind of went is, we started getting a little bit, quieter once we had a few like failed plays bought. There was also a big dive that we were actually talking about. Oh, okay, can we actually survive this dive? Can we not? And then the dive happened and we didn't survive it. So that was the fact that we knew it and we still got smashed by that dive was pretty bad. But I mean, we just kept playing because we did have some games in our practices where we were just like really far behind. So we just keep playing it out, keep waiting for an opportunity because we weren't too far behind in goal. That's mostly they did pick really good team comp, I feel like, for at least for mid game.
Yeah.
And then I think what happened is that they had Arcadius under the Aphelios, the Nocturne, and the Leona mid, and we had our Nautilus and Veigar mid. And then Nocturne ulted onto Veigar, but Veigar flashed underneath the second turret. And then at that point, we were able to CC it, CC Nocturne for long enough to kill him. And then we got a 3-for-1. And at that point, we knew that we were back in the game. We just need to play carefully.
Really impressive to hear that like you guys are like, okay, we got this 3-for-1, we're back in the game. What do we have to do in order to like push this game forward a little bit? Like we know that we were on the back foot and now we have this opportunity. So it's really impressive to see you guys do that. And I guess my kind of question leading from that is, who is kind of that main voice on your team who's saying like, okay, here's our opening, here's how we punish?
So I'd say the biggest macro shot caller is Gangplank or AD Carry. He generally tends to guide, okay, this is what kind of what we want to do. But Captain Tiankum and it also is like the off macro shot caller, and then the when it comes to like team fight shot calling and like, okay, let's make this play right now, let's do that right now, is a mix between Alphabet Cat and Captain Tiankum based on who's making the plays. And Wildcard and I are just mostly there to press buttons and kill people.
Yep. No, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. Will say though that in draft I generally am a little bit more vocal than the others, just a tiny bit. But Gangplank again he just has a lot of experience playing with in a competitive setting. He used to play in like higher leagues, kind of like the executive equivalent, in past seasons, so he has a lot of experience with that. So he's been helping us kind of reach our potential, I'd say.
So you guys are new to the LBLCS, if I'm correct on that one. And so how's that new player experience been in terms of just coming into this league and really finding a whole lot of success on the competitive level? So what's it been like? I mean, what's it been like joining this community and kind of jumping in here?
Yeah. Honestly, it's actually it was a lot of fun. I think none of us were really, other than Gangplank, none of us really have done a lot of competitive stuff. There were some like intramurals we've done in the past with Wildcard, but for most of us, it's been actually really new thing, and actually we had a ton of fun. Just playing in a competitive setting. Um, it honestly felt like I was more excited for our games than watching Pro League of Legends on the
Yeah.
weekends, and I'm like, oh, that's never happened before.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
So
I mean, we
yeah,
love like making sure that like the hype and the excitement is there, especially, when you know you're getting streamed or that kind of stuff. And so it's definitely really very fun. And I'm sure that some of the elders in the LBLCS administration are going to be really happy to hear that from you. Uh, y- yeah, I know Financial was definitely a league of like newcomers. I think that's what kind of like what Nate and I were touching on a little bit. And so, do you think that how much have you kind of like gotten to know other teams in Financial or even other leagues? And how much have you guys been able to kind of like easily integrate with the community? I'm kind of leading into these questions as a bit of like a quality analysis kind of situation where I'm like, all right, like
yeah.
what's working well in terms of the LBLCS as a whole? Like I have this opportunity to talk to a player who's seen a lot of success with like a team of newcomers and all that fun stuff. So I am absolutely using this as a QA thing. But totally
Nice.
Shameless.
it's very shameless.
Hey,
But it's just very exciting to see new faces come in, demolish leagues, and also still be really friendly.
right. I feel like it's a valid question. And if you can double dip, then all the power to you. Um, so I thought that in our group specifically, we were actually I thought we got to not necessarily known, but at least build some kind of uh, just respect for the other teams, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just because when you get to play the teams, you kind of get to know, oh, this is how they play, this is how they kind of tend to draft, and then even if you're not necessarily making friends, you can at least meet new people and play against them. And that's another way of getting to know people in the league. And specifically Team Laser Moon. So BYU's League of Legends
Mm-hmm.
lead actually went to high school with Tokufin and Gatotsu and I don't know who else. There was like one other person,
Mm-hmm.
so they knew them really well, and so we actually scrimmed Team Laser Moon twice during the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we got to actually they were the one team that we knew better than everybody else in the league. So it was
Yeah.
actually kind of really, really fun to have um had to meet them in the finals
Yeah.
and just have a showdown. And just a quick what's it called? Sneak peek into scrims. They
Mhm.
did kind of stomp us the first time. We went 1-2 against them first time, and then
Mhm.
2-1. But they were all really close matches. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to. I was really happy that we got to play against Team Laser Moon. As
Yeah.
for the other teams in the league, I wouldn't say we really got to talk with them too much.
Mhm.
Just because we didn't really need to interact,
Yeah.
I'd say. Especially the other leagues, economy, commercial, executive. We didn't know anybody in those leagues, and
Mhm.
no BYE team was competing either. So we're like, oh, I don't know.
Mhm.
Didn't really specifically care much.
Yeah.
But hey, we had a lot of people at BYU watching our games during playoffs when they were
Yeah.
streamed. So.
Well, that's exciting. So, what was it like kind of having that community backing from BYU? I know you guys said that there is a BYU Esports A squad as well. Like what's it like kind of being able to interact with all those players and fans like that back at your university?
It's really nice to just have a group of we're not too big, I'd say. We have like about 30 active players
Mhm.
in League of Legends, I'd say. Maybe a little bit more who don't participate as much.
Mhm.
But we always have a solid turnout when we have like club nights or when we have a major match like this, and it's just really nice to have a group of friends cheering for you, even regardless of whether you win or lose. And yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's really awesome. Again, congratulations, and I want to give Nate some space to jump in, and if there's anything that they want to say, or any questions that they want to ask, I'm gonna give them the space to do it now.
Nothing really. You guys
Mhm.
do. Everybody on the OU Sports does have really cool names though.
True, true. That's an important thing to highlight. Can we see? Will we be seeing BYU Esports B return next season?
right. It's a good question. So we're actually kind of figuring it out because the club is looking to start a few more teams. I know that there's one team who's looking to build a roster for the commercial
Mm-hmm.
league, and I think the A team might try to compete in the executive league. And some of those teams might actually be stealing some of our uh, players. And unfortunately, Captain Tiankum was too tryhard this season. And he already reached gold 1. He's like on the border of being a masters.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually like he can't participate in financial next season, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
because of that. So we might do financial, but I'd say it's more likely that you'll see a commercial and an executive team from BYU.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'd say there's like maybe a 10% chance that the financial team B is gonna come back. So
Yeah.
unlikely, but even if financial doesn't happen, you'll see us in the other leagues.
Well, we love having BYU here in the LBLCS, and if you guys do have an executive squad, then I hope to meet you guys there. Andaloth, congratulations again on the financial season 7 victory. You guys have a ton to be proud of from this season, and we wish you best of luck moving forward.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
I was happy to be here in the booth.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy those waffles. You can get a to-go box. You can ask the server for them. All right. So yeah. Thank you, Andaloth. We will kind of move on to just kind of prepping for the commercial and executive finals matchups. Again, commercial finals is going to be tonight, 6 p.m. Streamed on low budget LCS. This exact Twitch channel you're watching the booth on right now. So get super hyped for that. I know I can't wait for it. I can't wait to watch that matchup. It's going to be Strix versus Brick, so big Group C finals. So that's really exciting. Nate, what are the big things to look out for going into this matchup?
Oh Lord. So many things. So many things.
Mhm.
It starts mid jungle to me jumps out immediately.
Mhm.
Because whoever's playing mid for Cirques has great chemistry with Old No Name,
Yep.
and Brickburner and Manzano are not only a rap duo but are pretty damn good at League of Legends.
Yeah. Exactly.
So those two just by themselves are very strong and capable. On the other hand, Version Slothman are taking on, I believe, Dewey and Catman.
Mhm.
Huh. Two animal people.
Mm.
You have Slothman and Cat. Anyways, those two bot lanes are going to be facing off each other. Both of them have been really impressive.
Mhm.
So to me, that comes down to the top lane. Now I don't know if Shrouds or Cooney is playing, or if it'll be someone in the top lane and then Shrouds or Cooney in the mid lane.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. What I do know, however, is that it's this top lane has a big potential to be make or break, because Red Hawk is kind of has shown so far throughout playoff that there's a bigger focus on being the team centered top laner. The
Mhm.
Shin, I think the other two games, yeah, the Shin, the Mundo, these kind of just like get past lane, impact the team fights. Meanwhile, I mean, when Cooney's playing, it's been Akshan, Nar. He had a Yi game and a
Hmm.
Graves. Like these are the Cooney picks. These not sitting back on tanks. That's all No Name's job.
Yep.
Um, kind of taking over the game on these carry top laners.
Yep.
So I'm really it'll be Cooney almost certainly. So yeah, that's where I stand on it.
Yep.
Cooney being the top laner here is huge because you are putting a as the tank top laner player, it does feel bad when I know I'm going against the guy who basically exclusively plays carries.
Yeah.
um, So I'm really interested to see how that goes because all across the map, this should be a banger.
Oh yeah.
All things considered.
Oh yeah. I'm so excited for this series, man. This is gonna be so great. Um, I do think like the bot lane matchup is gonna be the biggest thing, right? So it's gonna be Verja and Slothman versus Dewey and Catman. And like Catman showed up huge in their like past couple of series, and so that's gonna be really awesome to see. Dewey is just like kind of a staple player. Like we know that Dewey's pretty damn good. And then you have on the other side is Verja and Slothman, who I would probably say best bot lane duo in commercial. Like I don't think that that's really that I don't think that generally that is contested. But we get to find out tonight again at 6 p.m. Eastern in about 4 hours.
4 hours.
So in 4 hours, we get to watch this huge banger, best of five, Group C for commercial. So I'm really freaking excited for that. And then I guess we can transition a little bit to kind of executive for a second and just kind of chitty chat about that. So that game hasn't been scheduled yet, so we're kind of uncertain where that's going to fall. But the next episode of the booth will probably be after that finals matchup, sometime afterwards. But we will let you guys know. You know, the press corps channel is always open for us to chat. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. So let me refresh my memory. We've got Team Fried Chicken going in against Naughty Boys. So really, really cool.
Lord, I am so excited for this finals.
Mhm.
Team Fried Chicken are a very likable team, but I am a massive Naughty Boys fan.
Yeah.
For the sole reason that I saw Tarded has become probably one of my favorite top laners. And I mean, it's not hard to see why. And they don't pick Hecarim.
Mhm.
So I really can't argue against that. Meanwhile, Team Fried Chicken, they pick Hecarim.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the executive finals is going to be really exciting or really one-sided. Team Fried Chicken is just a monstrous team, and I know that because we lost. However,
However,
and they did play these like, just like massive lanes, and then I guess you really like Earl King and Binyona are like really strong laners in terms of like kind of commanding solo lanes, and then you have Jalingo who can really help to like accelerate and facilitate those lanes. And so
Yep.
it will be really cool to see what happens with that. And I'm not even trying to throw any shade at Perky and Shamu, who also ended up playing extremely good in their past couple of series. So really gonna be pretty exciting to see where this goes. I think like if there's like a matchup to watch, it's probably gonna be in jungle, just because of how like powerful Jalingo is. Or it's gonna be mid lane because it's gonna be, I believe, Zelia's versus Earl King, which is gonna be really freaking cool to see. So I know I can't wait for it. So as soon as that gets scheduled, then we will be kind of predicting when the next episode of the booth is gonna be. But let's just kind of like say it'll be next Sunday, a week from today, a week minus an hour from today. So next Sunday, at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You know that's where to find us. Nate, is there
That's
anything
when
else?
I wake up.
Yeah, that's definitely when you wake up. Nate, is there anything else that you wanted to jump on here before we close out
Ooh.
this episode?
Naughty Boys. I think you made a great point about the jungle mid being really huge points, but I mean, you can't talk about Naughty Boys without talking about Mr. Ragtime song, Mr. Who
Mm-hmm.
Fucked That.
Mm-hmm.
They are like propelled by that player in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So talented, will take over games, and even like the bad games, there's still an impact to be had. So I think it'll be so interesting to kind of see how this series plays out.
Yep.
Perky and
Absolutely. Gonna be a banger. I don't think there's I don't think that there's like a lane that won't be excited. Which is kind of
Hunk
one.
alert.
Yeah, big hunk alert on like all 10 players on that one. So really freaking Rosella's the hunk today.
Oh. I don't know what Hunk wakes up 58 minutes ago. Wakes up like at the exact time of when the boost is supposed to start. But
That's
I'll take it.
that's you, partner. You're the hunk that wakes up
Alright.
58 minutes ago. Yep, so that's really exciting. And again, just to remind everybody, commercial finals tonight, 6 p.m., about 4 hours from now. Really frickin' banger matchup. So jump on that one. Make sure you tune in for that. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here at this Denny's, at this very here booth, this sacred booth. We love you all very much. Take it easy. Make sure you stay hydrated. Need some good food. Take care of yourselves. Do a skincare routine. Self-care is king, guys. And as these spring months roll into view, the sunshine comes through the window. Just remember, the booth is on Sundays at 1 p.m. Nate, is there anything you want to add before we close out?
T1 went 18-0.
T1 did go 18-0. Ladies and gentlemen, it takes two to tango. Have a great rest of your
Goodbye.
weekend.